Hello guys, welcome back to Python Basics series. So this is part 2 of Python Basics. Here we are going to talk about Python fundamentals, and this is the first video of the fundamentals. So in this particular video, we are going to talk about Python variables. And in Python, variables are containers that are used to hold data, or they are used to store data values. So to create a variable in Python, you just define the variable name is equals to that's assigning a value. So variable name is equals to value. That is the syntax for defining a Python variable. So for example, we want to define a variable name age is equals to 10. Here, age is a Python variable name. And this, if we assign the age equals 10, the 10 value is equals to the variable value. That means you don't have to specify or declare the type of variable you are assigning a value before assigning a value to it. And like any other, in programming, we are built by rules. That means if you are creating a variable, there are some rules you are supposed to follow. And in Python variables, we have some particular rules that we are supposed to follow along. So these are the rules you are supposed to keep in mind whenever you are creating a Python variable. One of it is variable names in Python can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Only that. No any other. Then the variable name must begin with a letter or an underscore and not a number. That's the second rule. The third rule is variable names are case sensitive. That means, for example, when you are creating age and the A starts, it's an uppercase, and the other age, A is a lowercase. For example, take this example. This age and this, they are not the same. You understand? So you must keep in mind whenever you are creating, you can use the camel case. Whenever you are creating the variables, I will show you some of those rules when you are creating the variables. You can follow along that process. So whenever you are creating Python variables, you should keep in mind those rules every time you are creating a Python variable. And the other thing is Python variable names cannot contain spaces. To separate words in variables, you use an underscore. You can't use a space or a hyphen. You use an underscore. The other thing and the last one is variable names cannot be the same as the keywords or reserved words or the built-in functions in Python. For example, we have whenever you are defining a loop, there's a loop code for. You can't use for as a variable name. This except when you're handling errors, there is a keyword called except. You can't use that word as a variable name. The built-in function, for example, when you're defining a function in Python, def is a keyword that used to define a function. You can't use the def keyword to define a variable name. So keep that in mind whenever you're creating Python variables. So now when you understand the definition on how you create variables and how the rules are followed, now we can go to the practical way of doing so. So let's go. As I showed you on the previous video on how to open your code editor. So you head on to your go to the path where you the folder you're saving your work. when you open the folder where you are going to save your work, like I just clicked here, yeah, just type cmd, then click enter. If you're using Windows, this works. Then from this path you have been given, now you can open the Visual Studio Code by typing code space full stop of the period, then click enter. So here we are. So let's create a file. I'm going to call this variable or short form var.py. Click enter. I said create a Python variable. Use a variable name, for example, age is equals. That means you assign. That's an assignment operator. So you are assigning the value to the age is equals to 10. So I'm used to other languages, so don't mind that. So in Python you don't have to use that. So age is equals to 10. That's we have already defined a Python variable. So you can print this using the print function, print age, then save, then you can run this. You can run this Python var.py, click enter. See, so you can maybe define you can define multiple variables. For example, we have a first name. This is what we are saying. We follow the rules. First name is equals to Bill. You can maybe define the last name. Let's observe the rules. Equals to Gates, like that. So these are the common ways to define the variables, and it's just simple. So you can just use that and print all of them. Print age, print first name, print last name. That, yeah. Then for this one, when you're defining variables, for example, these three, you can just use a one line. So you assign multiple variables, you assign multiple variables with multiple values using one line. So you just define age, use comma, first name, then last name is equals, and you can delete this. So you're going to give it 10, first name Bill, the one is Gates, like so. You can print that. Let's see, you see. So the other thing is in Python it's not like the other programming languages. For example, when you are coding in PHP, to define an age, you have to first define the type of variable is it. For example, in Python, in PHP, you can't just define and assign. Like you can't just give the variable name age is equals to 10 without first giving the type of variable it is. So Python, we call it dynamically typed. You don't have to define the type of a variable it is. For example, in PHP, we could have done int age is equals to 10. You have to define this, the variable type, then the variable, then you assign all. You can just leave it as that, then you assign data age is equals to 10. But basically we don't do that in Python. For Python, you just define the variable name. When you assign, that's when Python decides, it dynamically defines the type of variable it is. For example, we can get the type of variable the age is, and that in the next video we are going to talk about the data type. So to get the type of a variable age is, you just use the function type and you print that. going to give us integer. It's a class of an integer. So that's how you get it. So that's how you get the type of variable you define. Same case to first name, it's a string. So we are going to learn about the data types in the next video. So like that. That's the thing about variables. So you understand the defining, observe the rules, ensure you don't start you when you start a variable name with a number, it's going to give you an error. You can see basically that's why we installed the Python extension. It helps us on understand in when you're writing code. When you start a variable name with a number, it's automatically going to give you an error. The other thing, it's like when I said first name, you see, when you use a hyphen, so you're supposed to use the letters, the underscores, and the numbers. But for numbers, it's not supposed to start with the number. So that's the rules. So the same thing on that. When you want to define a variable with its type, you use the casting. Casting means, for example, we want to define age, and let's say age is a string. We want to define age as a string. So you just come and define, sorry, use casting. This is what is called casting. Age is equals to 5, like that. It's going to define a string of 5. So you can use that or use the normal one using these ones. So you can use casting or the normal method I just showed you. So the other thing is when you define a variable name, it can change the type later on because the variable type depends on the number on the value you assign to it. Previously we defined the age as an integer and we assigned it the value 10. To change the value of an age, the value of variable name age, you can just assign a new value and it automatically changes. So when you print here the value of age and the type, that and the type, I'm going to, let's see, that's the new value of age and it's an integer. So we can just change the type of age. For example, we want to say it as we can keep it as a string 15. Don't know whether it's written like that, but we are just running. So 15. So here we define the age as an integer. Now we are defining it as a string, and there is no problem with that in Python. The variable names comes with the value assigned to it. So let's run and see. See, age turned from an integer to a string. It all depends on the value assigned to it. And that's all about Python variables. You've learned everything that you needed to understand about the Python variables. So in the next video, we are going to talk about the data types. The data types, these are the integers, the strings, the float. So we are going to talk about that in the next video. So if you have any question about the Python variables, you can ask. So and that's all for this video. See you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.